Hello and welcome back to Randomly Generated Conversations, the podcast where we take a random conversation starter and see where the conversation goes from there. I'm with my sons today, Bastion Sellers
Hello.
and Caleb Sellers.
Hello.
This podcast is available on Amazon Music, Spotify, as well as Apple Podcast. If you're listening to it on Spotify, there is a poll. Go in and let us know your thoughts. It's your way of participating in our episodes. All right, today's topics are: what do you think the next big technological advance will be? Rhinoceroses. Do you believe in love at first sight? What is your favorite holiday? And what are your goals for the next 2 years?
Ooh.
All right, so what do you think the next big technological advance will be?
So what does that mean?
Like AI and stuff like that. Like different things like AI, phones, like anything that has technology. How is it going to get better?
Yeah, so over the years, so I'll use an example of phones. You know, you had landlines that used to have a cord, and you'd drag it across the whole house. You'd buy these really long cords so that you could go 5 rooms away and hope your parents weren't listening on a conversation, but anyway, they'd just pick up another phone and be able to hear it. And then you had then you had cordless phones. And then you started to have cell phones. But they were just these little bricks. And then you had flip phones, and then you started to have smartphones. So you had all these technological advances. Computers, we used to have these big, huge computers, and I remember when laptops first started to come out. Then you had laptops, and then tablets. And so they make all these progresses in technology. So what do you think the next technological advances are going to be? Bastion?
I think AI, because we have AI all over like the place nowadays, where sometimes we'll have like, I know friends that have Snapchat, that they have their own Snapchat AI, they ask them questions, it will respond. The AI is just going to get like more and more common, in my opinion. That's going to be a technological advancement. I mean, they're making self-driving cars with AI. Problem is, we might not know when to stop with AI, because if we go too far, when we go too far, we might actually run into problems with AI becoming more like intelligent than we think.
And those that don't know what AI is, it's
Artificial intelligence.
adult intervention.
Just like what you were doing right there.
It's artificial intelligence. Yeah, there's been a lot of push for AI lately. It's been in the news a lot.
ChatGPT is a big one that they banned at my school because people use it too much.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I heard on a video that like there's gonna be something called a exoskeleton, and it and you go into like this machine, and it and you can lift stuff that you haven't been able to lift, like if it was heavy. It also helps you like with a bunch of stuff.
Sounds like the start of a superhero movie, right?
it does.
Isn't that usually where they start off? Oh, we want a super soldier, so it's either a serum or this exoskeleton, the suit they could wear that can make them stronger.
I thought of a really cool thing with like the exoskeleton stuff. You have an exoskeleton that if you move, it controls like a robot. Like how in that Real Steel, sort of like that with the original robots that they had, where you control it by punching like that. That would be really cool to have in real life, because if we had to go into like wars and stuff, we wouldn't have to die. We just use the mechs to go for us, basically.
But then, okay, let's get into a ethical issue there, though. The whole ethicality of using robots and everything to fight our wars. Now there's no longer any risk or any downside to war because, oh, well, we're not losing lives. Well, at least not on our side, whichever side that is. And so now there's really no consequence for actions. I think part of the drawback to war is the lives lost and the financial implications and everything that comes with it. And there would be with this, but it just go back to, the clones and the droids in a galaxy far, far away.
Or you could use them for, like, self-defense, so, like, the next viewer had enough money to buy these things and to pilot them, sort of, to defend yourself if you need it. Like, if somebody were threatening you, you could just... No, wait, that sounds bad. Threaten them back with a mech. No,
you
but
threaten
it's like
me, so I'm going to threaten you.
No, but I'm saying, like, self-defense, so you're protected, basically. You know what I mean?
I understand the point. I don't think I fully agree with it, though, because then again, where does it stop?
True.
Right? However, let's go back to the exoskeleton and let's step aside from the superhero, supervillain aspect of it. There is a lot of benefit that could be. So think of that in the term of prosthetics, right? Somebody who has lost their ability to do something, or even if they didn't lose an arm or a leg, but let's say they have a spinal cord injury, that they've lost movement. Now having this be able to allow them to still do some of those things at an improved capacity, because they may still be able to move, but they can't lift much because of the spinal cord injury and the reduced capacity, it could definitely benefit their lives from a medical standpoint.
Yeah, that's what the video said. It said about it can help with people who like got hurt and they can't like move a part in their body, and like when they put it on, they're gonna feel like if they can't walk anymore and they have to be in a wheelchair, they can feel like walking again, and it'll make them feel happy.
That would help.
That would be so cool.
I love that, because the people that would have like disabilities, like we were saying, they could do the things they want to do again. Like they can. That's why I want to go into prosthetics, because then I could see people doing the things that they used to be able to do. Like if they had a limb missing, and I can help them with that. I can see the people doing what they used to love to do and everything.
Yeah, I think the advances on the medical side of the technology will be really cool to see. On this specific side, I mean, there comes a fine line as to those that need it, and then, like every other sci-fi movie, aside from the superhero movies, now you have all the sci-fi movies where people are, I think Ghost in the Shell is one that comes to mind, the implants and the upgrades to your body with these technological advances. I don't think those are necessarily the right way. I mean, we don't need to become part machine.
Yeah.
But where it benefits those who have lost some function, I think is definitely a good thing. Where do I think the next big technological advance is? I think it will be people starting to listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
And
it's gonna get big.
It'll start to enrich their lives. So make sure to subscribe and to share with all your friends. Now, I think realistically, though, finding more advancements in communication. I know they've tried different things and it's been hit and miss. But the ability to communicate with people more as if you're there with them. I know it's never the same as having somebody close by you, right?
Yeah.
And they've thought about that with VR. Oh, well, we have these VR rooms that you can have family or friends come hang out in there And it's as if they're there, you can talk and everything. But I think it's going to go further than that. I think holograms and stuff like that. I know it may not be the next technological advance, but with all this AI stuff, I don't think we're that far off of having somebody be able to be there in a hologram, and you're there in a hologram with them, and you have a conversation as if you're there.
That's kind of like the video I watched with the exoskeleton. There was also a thing about VR where it was saying that like you can actually like see in real life, and then there's like holograms. There's like holograms all around and different stuff you can do.
So that falls under augmented reality. So you have virtual reality, which is the VR, and then when it integrates stuff from real life in there or projects something from the virtual world into the real world,
it's called AR.
Then you get into the augmented reality and the AR, which I think would be really cool.
I think with VR, they might take it away where you can actually feel this. Would actually be painful, but you can feel like what's going on.
Ready Player One?
Yes, like Ready Player One. Because you'll be able to feel like... No, I don't think like the pain of being shot, though. But you'll be able to feel like, oh, I was hit.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like this jolt, but it's not like an actual painful jolt. So like if you're playing a game where, let's say, it's like laser tag, but you can actually feel it in there. Like that would make Rec Room way more like painful. Not saying that, but like more involved. Because you're not just moving your hands and your head, but you're also getting like yourself involved. If they had like a treadmill too, where you could walk yourself too.
Ready Player One?
Like Ready Player One. That's one we haven't seen in a while.
I know. I think the technology for that is definitely out there. I think one is the cost involved. I mean, think of just a regular treadmill, how much they cost.
Yeah.
And then add in the integration into the VR there. The comfortability of a headset when you're moving that much, they'd have to streamline the headsets a little bit more. As well as with the vest and everything, you want to make sure that it doesn't get overstimulated or overused.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure what we don't need is somebody hacking into our vest and causing it to just cause excruciating pain onto us.
We
don't
want that.
Not saying that's a thing, but there's always something to consider with that. So I think the technology's out there. I think cost is a big thing, as well as trying to figure out the safe way of implementation there.
Yeah.
I mean, we have TENS units. They're the ones that have the pads on you, and they give you these shocks, or they cause your muscles to tense up and everything. They use them for back pain or other types of pain when helping the muscles, using physical therapy, as well as other doctors will use them. But they already have that, so it wouldn't be that hard to have that integration into a suit that triggers those different TENS units, so you can actually feel something happening on that side.
Yeah, and then like if they ever created like a spa thing where like you could just chill there and you could feel the massage happening while that's going on. Like you can get your own little table thing, but like lay down, you can actually feel it. That's what I think would be pretty cool.
I mean, technically, they already have that. You just put the TENS unit on you, and
but I'm like
feels
saying,
like it anyway.
In the VR, you'll have this like you can see nature, maybe something like that. He'll be in there for a little while, and if you fall asleep, it's fine because you're still feeling the massage inside of VR.
I think once again, the headset and everything would have to be streamlined.
Yeah.
I can't see myself laying there trying to relax for a massage with the headset the way it is now.
No, but more likely they'll fix the headsets in the future.
Yeah. Make them much more streamlined. Okay. So, moving from augmented reality into rhinoceroses. So we have our resident animal lover here with us. So I'm going to let him start off the conversation about rhinoceroses.
I think, so a rhinoceros kind of reminds me of a triceratops, sort of, because of I think the rhinoceroses had 3 horns, and a triceratops is named by their 3 horns on them.
They do have 3 horns.
Is it 2 or 3? Because they have the big one and then one up above it. I don't think they have the horns off to the side. However, I could be wrong.
I thought they had like a small one.
Oh,
Certain types of
maybe.
rhinoceroses have that on the forehead too.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. So it's like a dino,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more related to like the woolly rhino or the basically like a mammoth version of the rhino. They have like the woolly rhino from that time back when they had hair. And I think, I'm not sure if that's the one that they're thinking about bringing back or a mammoth.
I think they said the mammoths is what they're trying to bring back. But I was thinking about how you said that the woolly rhino has hair. So the woolly rhino is the hairy rhino, and then you have the bald rhino. It's our rhinos nowadays. I mean, they have the tiny hairs, kind of like bald people, but
Hey.
there's nothing against being bald.
That's the same with elephants with the woolly mammoth.
Mm-hmm.
They've kept the hairs over the years. Like,
They're just invisible hairs.
yeah, like bald people. There's nothing against bald people because, I mean, we all know somebody that's bald, and they're like our best friends.
Yes, I am bald. That's what you're hinting at. Yeah, so elephants and rhinoceroses. Am I saying rhinoceroses right? Rhinoceri? Rhinoceron? I don't know. Rhinocerant? Rhinocerant?
That sounds like a movie.
Rhinoceroses?
The rhinoceros?
If one is acting suspicious, is it a rhinoceros? Rhinoceros? Okay, that was pushing it way too far. That didn't even work. But little hairs, right? So a lot of times we assume that elephants and rhinos are hairless. But it is true, they have like these little fine hairs on their body.
I was about to say like iguanas, but they have scales, not hairs.
I think some iguanas have like hairs, didn't they?
I
Like
don't
certain
know.
ones.
The scaly rhino. So you had the woolly rhino and then the scaly rhino.
And then you have the
But the scaly rhino, that was just a triceratops.
Yeah, exactly. Now we go back to dinosaurs.
So, if you could ride a rhinoceros, like put a saddle on it and ride, would you?
Yeah, but rhinoceroses are kind of wild, and I don't want it just like to bring back its horn because I'll be scared of it because I'm a little scared of horns.
Can it put its horn back far enough to hit a rider, do you think?
No.
I don't know how its head movements are. I don't know if it's just a side to side or how much they could put it back, but
I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
That's like I like sheep, but when I see like those sheep with the horns, I'm scared of them because I'm scared they're just gonna charge at me.
like a ram?
Yeah, like a ram. They like
I have a ram in my
charging at
computer.
people.
But I wouldn't ride a rhinoceros, even though it would be super cool. If I fall off that thing, more than likely I'm never getting back up.
Well, guess what? Who knows? Rhinoceros might not mind a person riding on them and like not try to get you off. They just do their ordinary rhinoceros things while you're on their back.
I mean, you have a point. Aren't there birds that have symbiotic relationships with rhinoceroses that will like ride on the back of the rhinoceros?
There's also birds with crocodiles and alligators.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They
They'll-
take away the pests
And they'll
and
stay
the
in the mouths.
parasites.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
to
what they're
take
doing
away
inside
the
there.
parasites.
It's like having a live-in dentist inside your mouth. Now, do you guys want a live-in dentist inside your mouth?
No.
So also there's a shark. Like some sharks, there's these tiny little fish that go
Mhm.
up to their teeth and like clean them.
Oh, and I forget what those ones are
There's-
called. Because there's also the little ones that are always following them. When we'd go to the aquarium, you have the sharks with those little fish that's like always right underneath it.
There's also whales that will have like different animals hide under them because the shadow of the whale is so big that they won't get eaten.
Mm-hmm.
I also know of another symbiotic relationship of bats and pitcher plants.
Okay.
So bats would go into the pitcher plants and they'd like sleep there because they wouldn't be able to fall into the poisons like stuff that bugs get stuck in. In return, the bats will poop inside the pitcher plants and it fertilizes the pitcher plants.
But they sleep inside of them too.
Yeah. They'll sleep inside there, they'll stay inside pitcher plants, and they basically gives them a place to stay because they're not big enough to fall to the bottom where they can get
Yeah.
dissolved.
And
I had
learned,
no idea.
And I learned that so I learned in another video that like it was shown about like dangerous plants, and it showed like some ants on the ridges of it. They had this nectar smell that like and some nectar that ants love. And then when they go up there, the ridges are so slippery that the ants fall and get dissolved and die.
Well, that's not symbiotic relationship.
No,
That's
it's
just a smart plant in eating ants.
I know.
yeah,
That's cool,
fall
though.
and they get stuck and the stomach acid's at the bottom. It's stomach acid, which is weird to think.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So, Triceratops and eating plants.
Sort of reminds me of rhinoceroses.
All right, so this one's for Caleb. Do you believe in love at first sight?
No.
Oh, she had to work her way into your heart?
Who?
I don't know. I'm just. No, you don't believe in love at first sight?
No.
There's been nobody you've looked at and you've been like, she's the one.
No.
She's the one. She's the one.
What I think, I think that how people fall in love is when they know someone for a long time, like for over 10 years, and they've been like going places with each other and like getting to know each other more and more. I feel like yeah.
So you're going to know your wife 10 years before you fall in love with her. Well, she won't be
I
your
don't
wife.
know.
You have a point, though, about the getting to know somebody. So there's different forms of love, right? There's that, oh my gosh, that person, I'm really attracted to them. But that's an attraction that's not necessarily the same type of love. Not saying you're not attracted to somebody over time, but then you need to realize not just, oh, well, I'm attracted to them.
They have to be attracted to you.
They have to be attracted to you.
So do not do Hugo Baskerville in Hounds of the Baskervilles. You're attracted to this woman, kidnap her, and she has to run away just to... Yeah.
That's not the way to
That's
do it
not
either.
a love.
But you also need to, like Caleb was saying, get to know them. Get to know their personalities. You may think somebody's super attractive, but you have nothing in common with this person. You can't agree on anything. You're going to continually fight and argue because opposites can get along. But if you completely can't make any type of middle ground agreements, then I don't think you can really develop that that love
Yeah.
in that sense.
So, when you said opposites can get along, it kind of reminded me of elementals.
Okay. Well, the funny thing there is they were opposite by way of their elements, and to the point where she was very, sorry the pun, hot-headed and angry. And he was very
Sad.
sentimental and not really sad, but just sentimental, right? More in touch with his feelings. But yet, in that sense, they were both in touch with their feelings. One just more with the anger side, and the other one more with the sentimental, sad side, emotional side. But yet they found that they did have a lot more in common besides that, those opposites.
Yeah.
So they say opposites attract, and they do in some areas.
Like magnets.
But opposites are different than people who are just completely disagreeable.
Yeah.
Another thing is, like, you might think someone, like, you might think, oh, I like that person. Then all of a sudden, like, you go up to talk to them, then they're, like, really rude to you. You're like, yeah, never mind.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So that love at first sight could be maybe attraction at first sight, but until you've actually had a chance to talk with them and know that they're at least a decent human being, I don't think you could fall in love.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first met my wife, she was very attractive and I was attracted to her. And then I got to know her, and over time, I developed that love for her. I wouldn't say that it was generally love at first sight. There was an attraction there, but it took time getting to know her. And I think it probably took her longer to fall in love with me than it took me to fall in love with her, right? I think that happens most of the time. But even after all this time, I still find her attractive. And I think part of that is because that wasn't just the focus of everything.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at, Caleb?
Dance me impressions and I would just and you did something to remind me of it, and I just started laughing.
All right. So, for most people, love at first sight may not exist. For Caleb, it definitely does.
What?
Okay, so what is your favorite holiday?
I like Christmas or Thanksgiving or Halloween or... Well,
I didn't say name all the holidays. I said, what's your favorite holiday?
It's not Easter.
I have two.
Okay.
It's Christmas and Thanksgiving. I like Thanksgiving because I like the food
Okay.
and like giving thanks. And I love Christmas because Christmas is a time that we have the most family time together. And I like having the family time together on Christmas.
I like Christmas also because of all the cheesy Hallmark Christmas specials that we'll end up watching for hours, yet nobody actually pays attention for some reason.
We already know how it's going to end.
Exactly.
You could basically say the script from the start, but for some reason we still watch them.
It's funny.
And I agree with you there with Christmas, right? So it may not be my favorite holiday, but I do enjoy the time together that we have as a family. I feel Christmas break, because it's cold outside and we're in the house more, I feel like we tend to spend more family time together than, for example, like on summer break.
Yeah.
Summer break, we still have a lot going on. So even though you guys are home, I don't feel like it's as quality time as Christmas. So I agree with that. We're there the whole day together, focused on each other, and family. And family is something very important to all of us.
Yeah, it's gonna be a better Christmas this year because terms end the week before, like the day before Christmas break. So the end of terms, the day before Christmas break.
So you don't have to worry about going back to a test or something.
And inside of Christmas, Santa usually brings us a board game, and one of the first things we do is when we get that board game from Santa, we start playing it with the whole entire family.
That's definitely been a tradition over the years. Is the board game and playing them together.
We can always guess it's a board game because it's a box. It's like, okay, this box must be a board game. Must be a board game.
But we love board games around here. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so can you guys guess what my favorite holiday is?
Valentine's Day. No, nobody likes Valentine's.
I like Valentine's Day. It's definitely not my favorite.
I've
It
never
might-
had a Valentine. That's why. I
It
don't
might
like
be
Valentine's.
somewhere in my top 50 of holidays, but
Thanksgiving.
50. Oh wait, every day's
You
a
like
holiday.
Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving I'm not a huge... I'm a fan of the
Oh.
giving thanks and getting together as a family.
Halloween.
I'm not a huge fan of the
Easter.
of turkey. I don't care much for turkey.
Neither do we.
And so when we do our own Thanksgiving here, we usually don't do a turkey. When we go to family, we'll have a turkey from that.
We'll eat some.
Pumpkin pie. I make pumpkin pie every year,
World's most famous pumpkin pie.
and it's
Snap.
definitely worth trying.
Which some of you may not be able to try it, depending where you are. You know what? If you
Want to order a pumpkin pie, just give me a call.
if you like and subscribe, we'll give you a free pumpkin pie. No, never mind.
I'm not sure how we could do that. Caleb had it. Halloween.
I said that.
He said that. I said Easter.
Take credit for it, Caleb. So, ever since I was little, I always loved Halloween. This year we didn't decorate much. It kind of snuck up on us. But I love...
Snuck its way right into our heart.
Okay, I love... I love finding costumes. Not necessarily going out and buying costumes. I'm not a fan of the cheap... They're not cheap. They're expensive.
Cheap
Cheaply
stuff?
made, expensive costumes.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of those, but I love finding what we have around the house, or even going to like a thrift store and finding different pieces to make costumes
Yeah.
and to dress up. And I don't know, there's something, even if we're not going out trick-or-treating, because my wife doesn't like much candy in the house. So we'll go out trick-or-treating, and then we usually don't go to that many houses, so we don't have so much excess candy in the house. But just the dressing up, getting together with friends and family, I mean, that general thing with Halloween is very attractive to me. Okay. So what are your goals over the next 2 years? Start with Caleb. What are your goals over the next 2 years?
So, my goal is to finish, one of them is to finish the Harry Potter books.
Okay.
Because I'm starting. I just barely finished the third one today. So I'm gonna be starting on the fourth one. And I really love them. And my goal I'm pretty sure I might finish them the next year, because we don't have the last two, but I want for Christmas to get the last two Harry Potter books. And yeah, and another goal I have is, I don't know.
Surviving middle school.
Yeah.
Sounds like a tough goal.
My goal is to survive high school. That's also a tough goal, being at a little harder school. It's fun, but tough.
aside from school, Bastion, what is another goal you have in the next 2 years?
I don't really know. I do have, and it's not for the next 2 years, but like a little goal at some point for gaming wise. But we're not going there. But like to at least get good grades and like not trying to not go to school wise, but get good grades and be able to have a happier life is what I want for the next 2 years. Be happy.
Okay.
Feel like I accomplished something with my life and didn't like throw it down the drain or something like that. At least survive with like a be average or something.
I think you're more than a B average. But I mean, those are good goals, right?
Yeah.
You set that, and goals are meant to be achieved. I like the goal of being happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Learning to go through life and not let things get to you. Kind of go by the beat of your own drum, per se, as opposed to constantly trying to compete with others and always feel like you fall short because you're playing by their rules. You can't compete with them in that aspect. My goals for the next 2 years, I mean, I've said before, I've been working on my businesses. We have 3 of them, and my goal is to get all 3 of them off the ground, continue to grow them, and to the point where they'll be more self-sufficient, as well as to evolve with these podcasts, whether keeping this one going, doing some others. I have some others I've talked about doing with my brother, as well as I have one with my wife that's a more serious one that we're going to be starting. And so getting those started and getting those moving forward as well is definitely a goal of mine over these next couple of years. As a way you guys can help us by sharing this, and then as we get these other podcasts rolling as well, we'll definitely be giving a shout out to those as well to go have a listen.
Yeah.
I appreciate the time today. I appreciate Caleb joining us. Did you have fun?
Yeah.
Would you do it again?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Here, I'm threatening him if he doesn't say yeah.
No, he's
Just kidding. Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Kebab.
And we look forward to talking with you all next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.